good time forming an Emergent collective in the coffee pause. I've got 18 minutes here to go over a slightly different topic. I want to give a little background. So IEEE Internet Computing is a magazine I started back in 1997. And then I wrote an article for another journal in 95 called Emergent Collectives. And since then, I've written several articles in a little column that I have here in this magazine called Peering, where they let me write anything that I want. And so I wrote this thing called Plenty of Room Outside the Firm, which was sort of a joke based upon something Richard Feynman wrote about nanotechnology a long time ago. But it was about emergent collectives. And here it is picked up on this, and here we are today. Now, I feel a little bit like a book author who's had his book adapted for Hollywood, and then his book takes off and it becomes something completely different than what he wrote, or it bears some resemblance to what he wrote, but the author doesn't mind because he gets rich. Now, I get to come to Belgium and I get a beer, but I'm happy with that because I'm very happy with how this is working. Oh, I'm sorry, could we go back to the first slide? Yes, thank you. So I'm going to talk about something today. We've talked about emergent collectives, and the definition that I wrote a long time ago has been abstracted and is different. There is, in this issue of Internet Computing, which you're welcome to see, I've addressed the topic again, and I also addressed the topic again more recently in an article about Steve Jobs. You don't have to buy this magazine to get these talks. You can go to my website. So that brings me to the first slide. And you'll see here that all my slides are on the web. They're all HTML. And for 20 years, I've made the announcement in all my talks, no Microsoft products were used in the making of this presentation. That's sort of the opposite of emergent collectives, the evil empire. But you can go to this, and you'll get my HTML slides. If you go down the lower quarter, you can get them in a tar archive, but you can just click through them. And each slide has links to other things, background material. So I don't have time to address all that today. But if you go to my site, if you go to my homepage, you find out how to contact me. And it's not as easy as just sending me an email. And you also can get access to all these papers for free. You don't have to buy the magazine. So having said that, now what I'm going to talk about today is something a little bit different. In this original definition of emergent collective, we were talking about a protocol that has the coordination built into it. The more the coordination is built into it, as the video said, since communication cost has been dropping, if the coordination is built in the protocol, then coordination becomes cheap, and you don't need institutions. Now, you can still have some coordination on top, but the more that's built in the protocol, the cheaper it gets. Second, it has to be scalable and it has to be easy to add nodes to. So that's another characteristic of these systems. The third characteristic has been kind of ignored and glossed over because it doesn't fit so well to a lot of business cases, but it's that people want to add nodes to it. When the World Wide Web came out, everyone started adding pages. Why? There's no obvious economic benefit. When Wikipedia came out, people have added all that information there, and there's no obvious economic benefit. In fact, there was no business model for the internet, the web-based internet, for a long time. People said it wouldn't work. In fact, well, I won't go into that. So there is this idea that people feel like they're contributing to something bigger and better, and they're not doing it for personal economic gain. And I'd like to get back to that. And I would also like to address another problem. In my technical field, I deal with semantics, and people have been doing semantics for 20 years at least, doing formal semantics, and it hasn't caught on. It hasn't made it into widespread use, and I think it's because they haven't found the right use case. So today I'm going to propose to do something constructive with emergent collectives, to build something that people will want to contribute to, and also something that the technical people in the semantics field can contribute to. So let's go to the next slide. And this is a slide I actually put up in 2007. It said, a lot of the things I've been talking about for years technically can be used for the good, like managing relief logistics. Now, I presented this in 2007, and really not much has changed. In fact, this next slide, I want to show you, here are the stats up to about 2003, 2004. Now, this tells you something about what's happening in the world, and it's only getting worse today. The number of natural disasters is increasing, and this is happening all over the world. But as you can see on this slide, where the people are being killed is below that diagonal line. That's because the resources are somewhere else. So, there's a picture not showing there. It shows on the web. You must be using Microsoft. Okay. Here it comes. Okay, so this is Facebook usage. So if you look at Facebook usage, this is where the infrastructure is in the world today. Now, on the other side, you can see where the disasters are that people are dying. So you can see that the infrastructure and where relief is needed are in two different places. That means that all these supplies, all these resources have to be shipped to those places. And how do we do that today? Well, we do it by ad hoc methods. There's a whole bunch of agencies, institutions. We were talking about institutions earlier. So we do it by coordinating institutions. And there's a whole bunch of them, and they don't coordinate with each other. And, you get a tsunami into Indonesia, fire up your C-130 and start shipping food and water. And everybody starts firing up their helicopters and their C-130s and their cargo ships, and aid starts heading in. And that's how it's done today. And everybody has their own game to play. Now, what's wrong with this? Well, what's wrong with this is this stuff arrives, and people are standing around going, now what do we do? Why do they send it to this airfield? Or why do they send it to the airfield where the wrong people with guns are? Or why did they send us water? We have plenty of water. What we needed was food. Or why did they send us food that has pork in it? These guys are Muslims. So there's all kinds of problems that happen because the aid isn't coordinated. Or you get all these pallets of food in, and there's no local transportation. So nobody gets to say what it is that they really need. Now, if you look on the web for coordination of disaster relief, you'll find a couple of proposals. People have realized since that 2007 slide that, yes, this is a problem. It might have a technical solution. And so there's one slide here. You can click on these slides. Don't do it now. First solution is the idea of a gift registry. And I have to explain this because this is a U.S. wedding concept. When a bride and a groom get married in the U.S., they want gifts. You're supposed to give them gifts. And they want lots of gifts. They want nice gifts from nice stores. But they don't want to tell you exactly. They don't want to say, you give me this and you give me that. And they don't want people just to simply give them whatever they think of because it might be the wrong stuff. Or they might get too much of the wrong stuff. So they go to stores, and stores have these gift registries set up. And so you'll go to your nice store, and everybody can do this on the internet now. The bride and the groom will say, go to these 5 stores and click on the gift registries for us, and you'll find out what we want. So if we've said we want a set of 6 dinner plates, you can buy 2. And somebody else will buy 2, and somebody else will buy 2, and then it's done. And then the next person who wants to buy a gift has to buy something else for you. So this is a nice idea because this is what these guys who need the relief need. They need to be able to tell you what they need, how much they need. So let's dig into this idea. So the idea is, in the semantics community, let's define the equivalent of dinner plates. But in the terms of relief agencies, you need to talk about water, food, medicine, and equipment. And then you need to define more specifically what those things are. And you need to talk about semantic terms like time, weight, dimensions, equipment capacities, locations, airfield descriptions, and just to give you a track of what needs to be done, it's not just defining these terms. You also have to define dependencies among these things. So here's an example. On the left side in the bride and groom registry, they say we need water, and if we expose that, we say, well, actually we need 1 million liters of water, and we need it in 2-liter plastic jugs. And by the way, we need it near Mountain View, and we need it prior to the 16th of September, 2012. That's what we need. What can you do? Now, somebody else can pledge water. You can see that's in the green. They'll say, well, we're going to pledge, we've already pledged 2 million. So actually, they needed 3 million to start with. And we can give it to you in the 2-liter jugs, and we'll deliver it to you on pallets that weigh 5 tons, and we can deliver it to Moffett Airfield, which is close to Mountain View, and we can have it there by the 14th of September. Well, that means, we're going to need a way to pick up 5-ton pallets. So under equipment, now we know that we want some forklifts. We need 5 forklifts, each with a capacity of 5 tons, and they should arrive at Moffett Airfield before the water does. So you can see the dependencies that happen. And by the way, most of these forklifts run on diesel, so we need diesel fuel. Fortunately, somebody's pledged diesel fuel, and so on and so forth. So you have to keep track of all these dependencies. Now, this is stuff we know how to do. Technically, we know how to do this. What we need to do now is do it in a way that people can use it. So the challenge to the technical community, to the disaster relief community, and in fact, any individual who wants to help out in one of these emergencies, we want to make it easy for them to participate in this, essentially to add a node to a network that says, here's what I've got. We want to make it easy for the people who need the need to put up a node and say, here's what I need. And then we want a protocol of messages that go back and forth between each other that match these up and also track the dependencies and automatically change in a distributed way the new information as it changes. We need to do that easy, and it needs to be completely distributed so that anybody can play. And this is something everybody should want to work on. So this is something that I'm proposing. I'm going to show it to students in Karlsruhe, students in St. Gallen, and just see if we can get people to start to build this. Is this something that sounds good to you? Because we're going to need it. In the coming years, it's only going to get worse. The resources are going to get smaller, the need's going to get bigger, and right now we're wasting resources, and we're killing people because the right resources don't get to the right people in the right time. So there are a lot of people we can work with on this. We can work with technical companies like IDEO, who first posed this example of a gift registry. We can pose with students at MIT, the Global Challenge. We can do this distributively as an emergent collective. I'm going to be at the Karlsruhe Service Research Institute, which also investigates things like this. Burners Without Borders. I'm a part of the emergent collective called Burning Man, which is different than your usual emergent collective because the usual emergent collective is virtual. Burning Man is like Second Life made real. And it's expanding. It's becoming worldwide. I've been doing this for 15 years. So that's another group to work with. And then the various aid registries, we want them to participate, but we want everybody to participate. And this gift registry idea is just a first step. We need something else. If you're going to do logistics, then we need to investigate academically what does it take to do the logistics for all this? If you're an individual and you say, I've got a liter of water I want to contribute, how's that going to get to Somalia? Well, somebody at the air base near you is flying a plane there. Wouldn't you like to know that? Wouldn't you like to know that you could go over and add your liter of water to what they're doing? Or find out that, in fact, they don't need water. But there's a lot of logistics of moving this stuff around, and that does require planning. So emergent collectives doesn't mean no planning. What it means is adaptable planning and replanning. And this is very sophisticated stuff, and it can be baked into the gift registry idea. But the gift registry idea can be done first, and it's simple. Okay? Is there another slide? I can't remember. Okay. So the point is we can help. We can take things that are computer science right now and actually do something real and do something that matters and that actually saves lives, which is very rare in computer science. So thank you for your attention.